Thank you very much for coming today. Project Salam was organized in August of 2008. We came together to try to understand what was happening to Muslims in our country. We initially met working on the 2004 the Yasin Aref Mohammed Hussein case, as we've talked about quite a bit. And we were shocked that both men were found guilty and sentenced to what we thought were very harsh sentences of 15 years. We were sure that the mistake had been made, that it was just a mistake, and that this would rapidly be corrected upon appeal. Surely we thought our courts would understand the inherent injustice of using secret evidence in court. And with the New York Civil Liberties Union filed an amicus brief in their case, we thought that Yasin and Mohammed's convictions would be overturned. We were shocked and horrified when Yasin Aref lost his appeal. Around this time, we met other people in other cities with other cases involving Muslims. We decided to hold a conference and organize a group to look at these cases. The conference was held at Albany Law School on August 23rd, 2008. The keynote speaker was Lynne Stewart. We have a photograph of her right there, and who subsequently went to prison on these issues of what we consider her one of the cases of preemptive prosecution. Recently she was released on compassionate release because of her serious health issues. Around this time, when we formed Project Salam, Steve Down suggested that we needed a database of cases. As I write databases for a living, it only made sense to me to write a database to analyze the cases. I would like to emphasize that this database is online for anyone to review. Anybody can go to the database and search and look at all of the information that we use to compile this report. We don't believe in secrecy on this, we believe in an open process. The initial database was from the Department of Justice list of terrorist cases. However, we began to also add defendants from news reports because this Department of Justice report that we use in our study only has 399 cases. As of today, we have approximately 890 defendants in our database. So there are other organizations that track these so-called terrorist cases. However, it is interesting to note that none of these lists match. And I think that's part of the problem of who is and who is not a terrorist, because it's really not defined or agreed upon, who should be on one of these cases. For our study, we decided that we must limit our analysis to just a defined set of the 399 cases from the Department of Justice. In this case, we could analyze what the government has publicly said is a terror case. Working on these cases has shown me the horror of what happens when our government targets a group of people and prosecutes innocent people. And I think that just to summarize, over the past 6 years, I have met many mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, wives, husbands, daughters, and sons of mostly men who were targeted by the government and prosecuted for crimes that really never happened. The toll on the families of these men is sometimes worse than on the prisoners themselves. Families have been ruined financially because of this, and because it's often the breadwinner who has been incarcerated. And the family must not only survive, financially, but they must raise money to help with their legal assistance. Many children grow up without their fathers, and if their father is unfortunate enough to be incarcerated in one of those special restrictive Muslim prisons, a communications management unit, they may only know their father by speaking with him through a plexiglass window. One young wife of a man imprisoned in a CMU told me that she and her husband explained to their little toddler son that his father had gone to live in a castle and that they had to go visit him there in the castle, which I thought was the saddest thing in the world. People, mothers have traveled, hundreds of miles to see their families. It is extremely hard on the family, even to visit the defendant in the prison, the prisoner. And it's, the grief and sadness of the families is really immeasurable. As the brother of one man who was given a 15-year sentence said, our tears would fill this room. The U.S. war in Iraq is over, and the war in Afghanistan is winding down. There are hundreds of Muslim men given outrageous sentences in the war on terror. Muslim men are still being arrested using these techniques. Just a week ago, a man was arrested in Rochester, New York for terrorism. And as an informant was used in the case, I strongly suspect he is another victim of preemptive prosecution. I believe that targeting people for their beliefs, which is what is happening with preemptive prosecution, is really completely un-American, and that we are better than this. Thank you very much.